Stormy Norman here, and I'm coming to one of the coolest music stores and stringed instrument museum in the country. It's called Picker Supply. It's right in the heart of Fredericksburg. Let's check it out. I'm here with Brand Dillard, the owner of Picker Supply on Caroline Street in Fredericksburg. An amazing, I don't even want to call it a music store, because it's a music store / museum. Because you have the history of musical instruments in here also.
That has been one of the joys of having this store.
So you started out as a music store, and then about how long ago?
That was in 1975.
Wow, okay.
And it was on a budget, so buying used guitars before I had funds to be able to get a franchise. I think the first guitar to be in the showcase, we might be able to take a picture of it, was a Martin guitar made in 1868.
1868 Martin. Like the Civil War just ended. That's crazy.
And there's a picture of the same guitar, and that was the model that Samuel Clemens, known as Mark Twain, played throughout his life. It looks like the same with the player.
Right, exactly the same picture. Okay.
And that's called a coffin case.
Yeah.
So I could almost imagine somebody waiting for a stagecoach to go to their guitar lessons.
Exactly.
It was not that it was that valuable to be being familiar with the Martin Guitar Company. I said, this is the jewel. This is what started it all off. So you can never tell what's going to walk through the store.
Right.
I think there are only 2 other stores that I could think of in the country that have been doing this as long as I have.
Oh, really?
It's because most people have more sense than I do. Well, speaking of the Gibson Guitar Company, we were having a little problem with Germany in the late 30s. So here's an upright bass made by Gibson in 1941, I think, 43, so last year.
Awesome.
And in the vintage world, most people don't have a brick and mortar store. They don't need it.
There's history in this store, and this building is history also.
We're in Fredericksburg.
Yeah. Any idea how old is it?
It was made, probably the original part was pre-Civil War, and I think I've got some pictures of in the early 1900s, 1909, one-way streets, cobblestone. So this has always been the main commerce center of this historic town.
Yeah.
Probably the most valuable one in this showcase would be this model right here, which was a mandolin made by Lloyd Lohr in 1924. He only made 260 instruments. Prices had I think the highest I'd heard somebody pay was $280,000.
Wow.
The prices have dropped down, but he was the acoustic design engineer for the Gibson Guitar Company only from 1922 to 1924. And you could see that this was the kind of Orville Gibson's design, a lot of those curls.
Oh.
So Lloyd Lohr took it and kind of made it more delicate. And
Make sure that this is the history of instruments is kept alive.
that, to me, is precious. The story of where some of these instruments come from is just as exciting as procuring them or fixing them up. That guitar, a friend ended up finding this wood when this country was founded, 13 original colonies. And each colony had a tree they would gather around saying, we want our independence, we want our freedom. They called it the Liberty Tree.
Yeah.
Well, the last remaining tree was outside of Annapolis, Maryland.
I'm telling you, there's music lessons too if you want to, right?
Ever since the beginning, since 1975, I've always had a student program going on.
Great.
I think unless we share, it's not going to be shared.
Right.
Yeah, so that has been a mainstay of Picker. So again, wouldn't be in a lot of your mainstay music stores because of the space. That's valuable retail space, and they should be selling widgets or something.
Yeah.
But we've always had a student program. 1 of 5, hand signed by Roy before he passed. Pick out Roy and Dale's face in that pearl.
Yeah. That is so cool.
And he started each one of his shows roaring up on trigger. And then He rode off into the sunset.
Oh, that's awesome.
The silver sparkle on it. Of course, the happy trails on the fingerboard. Add the enjoyment to your own life, and then spread it out.
Screaming. Come check out Picker Supply on Caroline Street in Fredericksburg, Virginia. It is amazing.